Antenna, I'm Shadow Scythe, and today we're going to be doing something special. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting back to the basics as I start doing some walkthroughs on how to do the different mastery tests and even like my recommended loadouts for them for as close as you can possibly do. And for today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through the first 3 mastery tests. Now, obviously, this isn't going to apply to everyone. These earlier ones, more or less, are going to apply to the newer players to the game. But then as I get farther down the line, it'll become a little more prominent that it's shifting away from just the newer players to even some of you veteran players that have been struggling to get to through some of the higher mastery tests. So what we're going to do first, like I said, is the first 3 mastery tests. And I'm running a loadout as close to some of the earliest shit a player can get a hold of in the game as I possibly can. Excalibur being one of the starting frames. I do not have a Bratton, so I am running the Bratton Prime, then as well as the Furus and the Galatine, which I honestly don't remember if it's mastery rank locked or not. The point is for the first mastery test, it's on the use of your primary weapon. Therefore, whatever your secondary and melee weapons are don't matter because you're not going to be able to use them. And obviously you won't be doing the damage that I am right off the bat because you won't have the mods. But at least if you can see along the lines of how to do it, it should make it a little bit easier for you. Because all that you have to do for the first test is kill the set number of enemies that it gives you within the allotted amount of time. As soon as you see where they spawn from.
Excellent. Continue.
Which, this does take a little bit longer due to the fact that you won't have the same amount of damage. But it'll make it a little bit easier if you guys can see how it's done. Plus, me having the damage will allow me to clear these all the faster, so that I can fit more of them into a video for you guys. This was the Mastery Rank 1 test, which was for your use of your primary weapon. Now we're going to go into the Mastery 2 test, which is for the use of your secondary weapon, which was why I brought the Furus. Players, 9 chances out of 10, may not all have the actual Furus by the time you're able to do the Mastery 2 test, depending on how much grinding you put into it. However, the MK1 Furus just has some slightly reduced stats. Same deal, just have to kill the enemies within the allotted amount of time. The third test will be the exact same, just using a melee weapon instead of a ranged weapon. And by that point, some players may have been able to get their hands on the Galatine if it is mastery locked. Others may not. If it is mastery locked, I believe it's for like Mastery 2 and up. And if you've noticed, they do give you more time each wave, which makes it really easy. Now, one of the most difficult things with these mastery tests is if you're playing on a potato PC, this may take you a few attempts because of the slow loading. I mean, it happens. It happened to me in my earliest days with Warframe, because I was on a potato PC when I first started playing. Now, the Skana itself is, well, the Skana or the bow itself are both okay weapons. Actually, you know what, let me throw the bow on just because of the fact that players will not have the actual bow, but they will have access to the MK1 bow. So, the more that, as similar to the loadout, or to a loadout that I can get for players to kind of see, the better. Alright, here goes the last test. Once again, same deal, just with a melee weapon.
Eliminate all targets using your melee weapon.
Which failed to load. There we go. Wave 1 completed, 3 enemies. It should be 5 enemies this time around. And actually, if you follow the this loadout to a T, it will make it a little bit easier, especially when you get to the melee weapon part, because of the fact that the it throws a lot of Corpus at you, and Corpus shields will fall prey to impact damage, which is the primary damage type on the MK1 bow and even the bow itself.
Formidable performance. This test is now complete.
The Furus is more ideal for the second test because of, well, the Furus or the Kunai, because they're puncture damage. And then the Bratton is Slash, which actually, not great against shields, but it is great against the fleshy targets, so if you manage to inflict a Slash proc, it'll help cause the Corpus enemies in the first test to bleed. Because what I'm doing with this video is I'm trying to show you guys a relatively easy loadout to run that also gives you the best possible benefits to pass the test by utilizing the optimum damage types, minus the optimal elemental combos, because unless you guys have a really decent friend to just give you elemental mods, you're not going to have the necessary mods to do the appropriate elemental combos that you would need for these tests. So, like I said, whatever your starting frame is, I just threw on Excalibur, but your options, if you're new, you obviously know, are Excalibur, Mag, or Volt, which was why I threw on the only one of them that I don't have a Prime version of. I really wish that I had the Bratton, or a regular Bratton to do this for you guys, but Bratton Prime is okay. Furus, Bow. Those 3 weapons will give you relatively what you need for the first 3 mastery tests. So, hopefully you guys found this guide, or hopefully you new players that may have been struggling, or any of you players that are planning on trying Warframe out, hopefully you guys found this guide to be useful. And if you did, or even if you guys just liked the video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and be sure to follow me on Twitter and player.me for all things related to Twitch, YouTube, and any IRL derp that could be causing a delay or a cancellation. And until next time, Tenno, stick to the shadows.